Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning back into this cool down video for October 6th, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest forecast and best forecast from the Weather Dude, then please, every single one of you that is not subscribed, please click the subscribe and the ring and the notification bell so you guys stay up to date with the latest The Weather Dude content. And also, please watch the whole video. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for 1,000 subscribers. It really does mean a lot to me. And this is taking the next step towards monetization, so please watch the whole video. It really does help out my channel a lot. And also, please give this video a like and share this with your friends. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. So for today, we're going to be talking about the cool down coming to the northeastern United States. Little drop in temperatures. Won't be for a very long period of time, actually. Pretty much going to be for Thursday and Friday. And Wednesday, which is tomorrow, the front will be approaching. And obviously Thursday and Friday will feel the cooler temperatures. Now, my other upload today will be a major Hurricane Delta update because this is rapidly intensifying into a huge beast. So ring the notification bell and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for that video. That is my spoiler alert. That's my other upload for today. But starting with the cool down video for today, before I get into everything, I want to take a look at October and what temperatures do we usually see in October, all right, for the Northeast. All right, so our average high temperatures, meaning our daytime temperatures during the afternoon, and the northern United States, maybe like the Rockies region, maybe Minneapolis, Green Bay, maybe Marquette, maybe parts of the interior Northeast, usually your high temperatures are in the 50s for October. Now, in the early part of October, that may be the upper 50s, like 58, 59. Then by late October, it may be like 51, 52 because temperatures will be dropping throughout the month. So maybe like at the very end of October, high temperatures could be in the 40s in this area. But normally for October, we see high temperatures in the 50s. Most of the country, pretty much a good chunk of the country, is sitting in the 60s during October. The Mid-Atlantic, the coastal Northeast, the Midwest, parts of the Northern Plains, but not like extremely too far north, like Nebraska, Des Moines. We got the Four Corners region usually in the 60s. Obviously, different mountainous regions will be a little bit cooler. And then we got parts of the Pacific Northwest in there as well. Then it's usually the 70s for places like the Southeast Coast, maybe for the Mississippi and Tennessee Valley, maybe for OKC and Dallas, maybe for Albuquerque, New Mexico, LA, San Francisco. All places that could be seeing high temperatures in the 70s typically for October. Now I'm just going through this, even though we're going to be talking about the Northeast today. And then usually high temperatures are in the 80s for like the desert regions in the Southwest, maybe for Central and South Texas, Lake Charles, Louisiana, which will be getting hit by Delta potentially. And then we got the peninsula of Florida, all places that were in the 80s. But keep an eye on the Northeast, because usually the interior Northeast is in the 50s, and the coastal Northeast regions, including the Mid-Atlantic, are usually in the 60s. So that's the two areas we'll be focusing on today. Now the low temperatures, all right? Usually for the select mountainous regions in the Rockies, usually it's in the 20s, which is pretty extreme considering it's October, but that's the average. Most of the country actually is pretty much sitting in those 30s to 40s regions. So the Four Corners regions, Northern Plains, Upper Midwest, not the Midwest, but the Upper Midwest, as well as the interior Northeast, usually our low temperatures are in the 30s. Also, a good chunk of the country is covered in the 40s. So the coastal Northwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Lubbock, Texas, Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, all areas, including the Ohio Valley, as well as the Appalachian Mountains, going all the way down to Blairsville, Georgia, so all the way down the Appalachian chain, as well as the Mid-Atlantic and coastal Northeast. All these locations, usually it's in the 40s for our nighttime lows for October. Now, areas a bit farther south, maybe LA, San Francisco, what's another example here? Dallas, OKC, Mississippi Valley, as well as parts of, say, maybe central Alabama, maybe Atlanta, Georgia, and the extreme southeast coast, like the southern part, like coastal South Carolina, coastal North Carolina. Usually it's in the 50s, which is actually like a perfect kind of chill. All right, that's why I gotta love fall. All right, it's basically my third favorite season. All right, and then we got the 60s for like the desert regions in the Southwest. Again, southern Texas, coastal Louisiana, including New Orleans. Central Florida, like Orlando, down to Lake Okeechobee. North of Lake Okeechobee, usually up to the Florida State and Georgia state line, it's in the 60s. But south of Lake Okeechobee, usually like down like Miami and Homestead, usually it's actually in the 70s. All right, so temperatures don't drop much between daytime and nighttime in Florida in the southern part, because in daytime it's in the 80s usually, nighttime it's in the 70s. All right, now before we get into the models, this is like our essentially our first maps here. There are two oscillations essentially that determine how cold air is funneled into the Northeast: North Atlantic oscillation and the Arctic oscillation. Now, a long time ago, I actually did focus more on the North Atlantic oscillation, but again, Arctic oscillation also does matter just as much. It matters just as much. So the NAO is currently in a negative phase, and actually will be trending even more downward in a negative phase over the next few days, or maybe even the next couple weeks. But we're talking about short term here, like the next couple of days. So again, we'll be trending down. What does that mean? Well, I'll show you over the next few maps. I'll show you the jet stream with the GFS model and how that can funnel cold air in the United States when the NAO is below that line in a negative phase. All right, now the Arctic oscillation was actually down in the very beginning of October, like the first and second day. Has been up, but it could drop yet again over the next couple of days. All right, back to where it was before pretty much. So it was basically here, now it might return back down there. Usually kind of does this where it goes up and down and it's kind of flattens out, because that just tells you guys that the ensemble models aren't quite sure, but most of them do trend down over the next couple of weeks. But after these couple days of cold in the Northeast, it'll get back to normal after that. All right, so this isn't, like I said, not like a long-term event. Now, we're not there yet. All right, this is Wednesday morning, so we're going to go to Thursday and Friday, and I'll be demonstrating you guys the cold. So these aren't the actual temperatures. That'd be pretty weird. These are the surface temperature anomalies. We're going to go through three models: the GFS, the GEM. Sorry about that. I accidentally went into the tabs for my next video. Spoiler alert, that's what the welcome sign looks like for my next video. Anyway, so we are in the surface temperature anomalies. Again, GFS, GEM, and European model. We'll be showing those all. So also, you guys notice how DC and Baltimore and Philly and New York City and even Boston, how like there's more concentrated areas of red, and that's because obviously of the global warming, and the cities are usually a little bit warmer. But anyway, going to it pretty much starts already, like 2 a.m. on Thursday, the 8th. You can already see the front ends come through. We're seeing some blues getting funneled down. And also, at least for this wave of cold air, it's a big cool down. All right, obviously, it's what it says in the title. It's a big cool down, but it won't be lasting too long. All right, and it's not extreme either. All right, but it's a big cool down because Wednesday will actually be pretty warm, like a lot warmer than average. So when Thursday comes around, even though Thursday won't be extremely cold, it will feel really cold compared to what it was on Wednesday. All right, even though the temperature anomalies themselves won't be too horrible. We're not seeing like 20, 30 below average. All right, usually anywhere from 5 to 10. Areas in Canada, when you wake up on Thursday, maybe like 10 to 13 degrees below average. Right, but overall, it's not too bad. So by Thursday morning, though, this is 8 a.m. on Thursday. You notice like upstate New York is the most below average, maybe by as much as 13 or 14 degrees. All right. Actually, I think the highest value is, 14 below average. All right, but even down the Mid-Atlantic, a nice refreshing 5 to 10 degrees below average. Same thing for the Northeast here. All right. And then as we enter the afternoon, I think that's when the interior Northeast sees the worst of the cold. The darker blue spread out a little bit more. Again, all the way down to the Mid-Atlantic, it's a few degrees below average. Again, it's according to the GFS model. All right. Then, this is Friday, 2 a.m. This is when more the coastal Northeast and maybe like coastal New England start to see the worst of the cold. Like 10 to 15 below average as opposed to 5 to 10 below like it was before. Also, areas in Mid-Atlantic may get closer to 10 below average. So I think Friday at 2 o'clock in the morning would be like the most below average, if you want to say it like that. Okay, but then look at this. By Friday afternoon, though, Friday at 2 p.m., we're starting to see some warm air work its way in again. So like I said, it does not last for too long. All right, now going to the actual temperatures, because we know we all got to find out those actual temperatures are. So Thursday morning, all right, and like I said, it's not going to be too horrible. All right, coastal Northeast down to the Mid-Atlantic, probably going to be in the low 50s, probably some 40s, and maybe even some low 30s in upstate New York, where it's going to be especially cold. But pretty much upper 30s, low 40s inside the interior Northeast here. Maybe like Jackman, Maine, maybe a little bit closer to freezing. Maybe even, obviously, Mount Washington it's not going to be 36. I'm sure it's going to be lower than that in Mount Washington. All right, but obviously higher elevation areas are going to be a lot colder. All right, but also notice the temperatures over the Great Lakes are a little bit warmer. All right, so that's a potential. It's a signal saying, hey, we may see some lake effect snow. Not now, but in the coming months. All right, or I should say in the next month, because usually it's November and April, because those are the two those are the two like warmer months, but we can still see snow from those months because obviously we want those Great Lakes to be warm and we want some cold air to get the lake effect snow, but that will be later. All right, so then we move into Thursday afternoon. And even though it's below average, it may not seem like it. All right, because if you go back to the GFS model, oops, I don't want to do a sounding right now. So if you go back to the, well, this is still the GFS model, but if I go back to the temperature anomalies, like you saw, most areas were 4 to 5 degrees below average, but upstate New York was 13 below. I think that's where you're going to notice most of it because you can see temperatures are still in the low to mid 40s up there, but coastal New England and coastal Northeast and Mid-Atlantic doesn't look all that bad. Matter of fact, it's actually still way warmer than average in Kentucky and Central Virginia down through Richmond and Norfolk, so not too bad of a day, right? Then I think we might start to notice it. I think for Mid-Atlantic areas, you might notice it more on Friday. You might wake up, I think the 40s could reach a little bit farther south this time, but like I showed you, October, we usually see low temperatures in the 40s. Maybe for early October, maybe usually low temperatures are closer to 50. Maybe later October, they're more like 40. All right, because they go down as the month progresses because we're getting closer to winter. All right, then Friday afternoon, all right, again, we go back to the GFS model. Friday afternoon, we're warming back up again a little bit, and may not be that way for New England, but for the Mid-Atlantic, we're starting to warm up again. So like I said, it does not last too long. Okay, so before we move on to the GM model real quick, all right, we're going to show the jet stream like I showed you guys earlier, or like I was telling you guys about earlier. So here's Wednesday, and by the time you head to Thursday, all right, notice we're seeing that sort of low way up in Canada. It's going to funnel the cold air down to the northeast, and the jet stream doesn't go down that far. Like I said, this is a very minor batch of cold air. It's not too significant because then you can see by Friday we start to see a surge in the other jet stream, in the Pacific, in the subtropical jet stream, and that funnels a little bit more warm and moist air back up into the Mid-Atlantic. Then eventually we'll reach into the Northeast. All right, so this won't be lasting too long again. All right, so next model we have is the GEM model. You might be thinking, well, what's the difference between the models? Well, models are actually, they do differ on this. Let's put it that way. All right, so GEM model, let's start. Let's go to, now, the way they say it is that the warm air, like this is Thursday at 2 a.m., right? In comparison, because even I'll forget as well, if you go to the GFS model, go back to Thursday, all right, we start to see some colder air coming through the interior Northeast, hasn't quite reached the coastal locations of the Northeast or Mid-Atlantic yet. But that was the GFS. The GEM model is saying that the warm air is going to hold up a little bit longer, maybe 5-10 above average, as much as 15 degrees above average for West Virginia and Virginia along the Appalachian chain. But if we take a look at Thursday afternoon, now the cold's not as significant for the Mid-Atlantic. Matter of fact, it may not be any change at all, just like 1 or 2 degrees below average. But where the cold does strike, it could be more significant. For northern New York, upstate New York, northern New Hampshire, it could be as much as 16 to 17 degrees below average. And yes, that is pretty nippy considering that October is a pretty cold time of the year anyway. And actually around Mount Washington, maybe near 20 below average. So they have the cold coming in a bit later, but when it does come in, it could come in with force, at least for the upstate interior portion of the Northeast. All right, then we head into Friday, and look at this. So now they have Friday morning, the Mid-Atlantic is actually closer to 15 below average, so some more colder times for the Mid-Atlantic, as well as for the Northeast as well. So I think they have the cold being a little bit more delayed, but I think they have a more intense cold scenario than the GFS does. Still not extreme, but not quite as intense. Yet somehow, Friday afternoon, pretty much a copycat of the GFS model. I mean, I'm not saying who's copying who, but exact same thing. A few degrees above average creeps in by 2 p.m. on Friday, right on time. Now, what's going to be interesting is to look at those temperatures because we have actually the coldest times, I think, were pretty much around Friday morning. So that's going to be interesting to see what the temperatures are then. But let's look at Thursday morning. Like I said, not too bad. Mid-50s on Mid-Atlantic and Northeast coasts. Maybe mid-40s inland in the interior Northeast. And maybe northern Ohio and eastern Michigan, maybe in the upper 30s. So maybe some potential frost weather if we get a bit colder than that. All right, doesn't look too bad. All right, Friday 2 a.m. Now look at Friday morning. Ugh, it's a bit different, huh? It's a lot different, actually. We start to see temperatures below 30 degrees or so, right? Below 32 for northern New York, northern Vermont, and northern New Hampshire. So expect some freeze warnings if that were to hold in place, as well as western Maine. So freeze warnings could go out there. And that includes central Vermont as well. But also, Appalachian chain getting as low as 38 or 39 degrees. We see like upper 30s getting down to the northeast coastline. Maybe the mid-Atlantic gets into the low 40s. So it's going to feel pretty cold. And there's also a potential next cold batch coming in the third week of October, but the models have been up and down about that. Like one run it was, and then another it wasn't in the next model run. Then it was saying it again. So we're going to watch for another cold shot coming in at the end of October, but the GFS was really highlighting that. But we're going to see. That's a little bit far out, though, but just a little sneak peek. But then magically by Friday afternoon, look at this. Northern Maryland is back to 71 in Baltimore. So, it's like the cold never came in the first place. All right. All right, now, one more model here we have is a European model. All right, so let's see if they show a different scenario than the other two, maybe the same. All right, so far, Thursday morning, pretty much right on time, just like the GFS. Anywhere from 5 to 10 below average, not looking too bad. All right, nothing significant. All right, then Thursday at 2 p.m., we start to see maybe a little bit more intense cold air, maybe 10 to 15 degrees below average for upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Mount Washington, same areas. All right. Then by Friday morning, I think the European is one of those more conservative models, I think in general. Not too much cold, upwards of 10 below average, maybe 11 in some spots. All right, but Friday morning doesn't look too bad. And then just like both the other models, all three agree that by Friday at 2 p.m. we're going to see some warm air creep back in. So I think Europeans being a little bit more conservative on this. Let's put it that way. So Thursday morning, we may wake up to some higher elevation spots in the mid to upper 30s. All right, but that's like the higher elevations. Interior Northeast, all right, maybe some low mid 40s. Then the mid-Atlantic coastline, some lower 50s. All right. Then we see our temperatures work their way through. Cold air makes its way through, and somehow by Friday morning, Mount Washington and obviously I'm sure Mount Washington is anyway, but parts of northern New Hampshire could be at or below 32, as well as western Maine. That very, very, very dark green, as well as those blue colors, represent 32 degrees or lower. All right, so Friday morning is probably going to be the coldest morning here for the Northeast. Summing up, I look at these models, all right, because by Friday afternoon, the warmth is back. Eastern Kentucky is pushing 80 degrees, all right, by Friday afternoon. So warmer is going to come back with a vengeance, but enjoy the nice, crisp, cool fall air while you can. Keep in mind, though, warmer temperatures during fall is honestly, it's something that we look forward to, but hopefully some of us are looking forward to a cold winter as well. So thank you guys for watching today's video. Considering hopping over and checking out my major Hurricane Delta coverage. This will be a catastrophic threat to whoever it may hit. There's a lot of places it can still make landfall, so consider checking that out. Hopefully it is out when you watch this. So thank you guys for watching today's video. I am the Weather Dude, signing off till next time. Stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.